Welcome to the Urantia book. The Philosopher's Stone, if you look into it, they say that it is this tablet that has instructions on it, a tablet made of jade that has instructions on it which will turn base metals into gold. So, if you were to believe that, then the Philosopher's Stone would be materialism, right? It's all about what thing can I get? How can I make myself more rich so that I can have all of these pleasures, 1,001 taste sensations, whatever they may be. And if you become spiritual, you will realize that that is the dis-ease of materialism, and it just becomes an endless and empty pursuit. And what really makes us feel completed is by going within to find our inner divinity, which is beyond materialism, which transcends it. Now, mankind has no sense of proportion. So when we hear that, we think, okay, I need to burn every single one of my possessions, right? No, it's not about that. But it is about having an appreciation for divinity over the material, not destroying the material. Now, the world system of things will program you in the opposite of what that is supposed to be. So it is all about the get principle. That's why the Philosopher's Stone is on these jade tablets. Ooh, gold, jade, right? Really, what is the Philosopher's Stone? Truth. Write that on your heart and embed that in your mind. So if you are a seeker of truth, then here is the Philosopher's Stone, people. You can search the world. You're never going to find any more complete and replete presentation of truth on the planet. Remember, it's all about receptivity. The difference between a teacher and a preacher, this book, would be the receptivity of the individual. Okay? So if you're closing yourself up, this book is whatever you perceive it to be. If it's a collection of child's stories for idiots, that's what it is. If it's some advanced truth, some higher truth that takes you towards love and true liberty opposed to false, then that's what it is. So we're looking at the Lucifer rebellion today. And the history behind this, basically, just very briefly, they go into this another part, is that this is page 613, by the way, is that these advanced beings, high, brilliant beings in the universe, Lucifer being one of them, precipitated this system-wide chaos, which was many inhabited worlds, which was all about fostering the get principle, selfish, self-serving. But remember, it's the ideals about God, deity, and divinity, which are important, not the ideas. So what is the ideal? Sharing. Okay? And again, man has no sense of proportion. So if you say that, he means, oh, does that mean that my neighbor doesn't have to work and I have to give him half of mine? No, no, no. That's not it either. Okay? We want equality. All right? We want justice. So have a sense of proportion when you hear something like that. Sharing is an ideal. Now, here is where we get into the problems of the Lucifer Rebellion and why this has taken such hold on our planetary system of things, our paradigm, our world system of things, and why it will unwind and it will self-destruct, because inherent in every evil is the seed of its own destruction. We don't need to do battle with these beings like you see on those traditional tarot card images. Archangel Michael holding a sword. That's primitive type of, it's just going to unwind and destroy itself. It just is a matter of time. So let it play out. It's not an enemy, it's a so-called enemy, maybe relative to this position in time and space. You could call it a so-called enemy. But we don't have enemies. We don't do battle. We pursue the higher aspects of our life, and the evil drops away. So this is purely learning anytime we point out the negativity of the world, but this doesn't have to be our reality because we can choose to transcend it. Problems of the Lucifer Rebellion. Evolutionary man finds it difficult fully to comprehend the significance and to grasp the meanings of evil, error, sin, and iniquity. Man is slow to perceive that contrastive perfection and imperfection produce potential evil, that conflicting truth and falsehood create confusing error. And that's the paradigm that we're in right now, where we're programmed to think that our neighbor is our enemy because he has a different political ideology or a different religion, which makes him have a political ideology. And that is our enemy, right? But that's not your enemy. It's the beings that are programming us since birth to have this get principle. They'll put it in every single little TV ad out there. Be selfish, get this now for you, and your status will increase, and everything like that. That is the real so-called enemy, not your neighbor next door who's has a slightly different political ideology, or even vastly different. It's the beings at the head that are lying to get that person to perceive that you're the enemies. That the divine endowment of free will choice eventuates in the divergent realms of sin and righteousness. That the persistent pursuit of divinity leads to the kingdom of God, okay? Way beyond materialism, as contrasted with its continuous rejection, okay? I'm gonna selfish, self serving, self centered, which leads to the domains of iniquity. Iniquity is just really intense evil. It's destructive cosmic insanity, basically. The gods neither create nor permit sin and rebellion. Okay, it's not permitted, folks. Potential evil is time existent in a universe embracing differential levels of perfection, meanings, and values. Sin is potential in all realms where imperfect beings are endowed with the ability to choose between good and evil. See, it's just a potential that exists. If we didn't have free will, we would be created in perfection. The very conflicting presence of truth and untruth, fact and falsehood, constitutes the potentiality of error. The deliberate choice of evil constitutes sin. Okay, this is super important. Evil is just a it's like, almost like a law. Okay, if you're away from divinity, then that's evil. But when you choose evil, that's when it becomes sin. Now, the willful rejection of truth is error, okay? If you know better, you do better, sort of thing. If you have to make mental gymnastics to try to rationalize, remember, man's rational mind is also one of his worst enemies. It's his worst weakness. We're our own worst enemy because we can rationalize any one of our debased tendencies, and they do it at the top. All your billionaires say, hey, if I get this, then maybe I could influence politics and have a better change, or whatever they think that they're doing. Your Bill Gates, they have their Gates Foundation set up, and your Clinton Foundation, all of them, right? Like an Elon Musk, he thinks he's making these cars and everything like that. And we don't take away from their good credits because they do have that. But then they also have this unbelievable sense of self-aggrandizement, okay? True and false liberty. Of all the perplexing problems growing out of the Lucifer rebellion, none has occasioned more difficulty than the failure of immature evolutionary mortals to distinguish between true and false liberty. True liberty is the quest of the ages and the reward of evolutionary progress. False liberty is the subtle deception of the error of time and the evil of space. Enduring liberty is predicated on the reality of justice, intelligence, maturity, fraternity, and equity. See, that's where liberty comes in. Okay? Now, we could all, if everybody was a millionaire, then we could pursue that, right? But if there's people dying and starving in the streets and you're buying a golden coffee cup made out of solid gold just so you can hold it in your hand and say, wow, I made it in this world, then you're pursuing false liberty. Liberty is a self destroying technique of cosmic existence when its motivation is unintelligent, unconditioned, and uncontrolled. True liberty is progressively related to reality and is ever regardful of social equity, cosmic fairness, universe fraternity, and divine obligation. So it's not just limited to our world. We're talking about cosmic fairness here, people. That is deep. That's the same laws and rules that govern all planets, trillions of inhabited worlds. Liberty is suicidal when divorced from material justice, intellectual fairness, social forbearance, moral duty, and spiritual value. So even like a Gates might think that maybe he's a humanist, right? But if these people are truly spiritual, folks, they would be talking about it. Anybody that really has had a change of heart and is spiritual, they're if they had I wish I had a mouthpiece like a Bill Gates. I wouldn't hide spirituality if I was him. He's just not spiritual. That's where he's at. Okay, maybe he has some of his own, religious leadings or whatever, inward or anything like that. But if he had that mouth, he'd be saying, folks, this is what he would be talking about. So they're devoid of that. However humanist they might think that they're doing, but what they have coming in the back door, even though they're doling out some in the front door, what they have coming in the back door is 10 times as much. Liberty is non existent apart from cosmic reality, and all personality related reality is proportional to its divinity relationship. So they're divorcing themselves from being a real person in the universe. And I don't know what their status is or anything like that, but I know that if they were spiritual, then it'd be a completely different type of paradigm. Unbridled self will and unregulated self expression equal unmitigated selfishness, the acme of ungodliness. Okay, look at that unbridled self will. See that word unbridled? You're just a freaking selfish maniac, an egomaniac. What yacht can I get? Unregulated self expression. Oh, now then the yacht needs to be plated in gold. Unmitigated selfishness. Okay, that's the acme of ungodliness. So any being that's doing that, that's where they're at. Okay, maybe they'll change. I don't know. I don't care. I don't care. I mean, hope they do. I hope they do. I'm not trying to. I don't try to sit there and judge and say who's a part of the Illuminati or anything like that. I know we're in the wrong paradigm, okay? And I know why. I know what causes because it's telling you right there. Liberty without the associated and ever increasing conquest of self is a figment of egoistic, mortal imagination, okay? So you have to self mastery there, self restraint, self control, self discipline, self forgetfulness. Self motivated liberty is a conceptual illusion, a cruel deception. Now, here, this is good. License masquerading in the garments of liberty is the forerunner of abject bondage. So, like your libertarians out there, they take it too far. They think, oh, everybody should be able to do whatever they want, sort of thing. You know what I mean? I know that's an exaggeration, but close enough. That's not false liberty. I should be able to turn up my music. My neighbor just has to turn it up louder or put on some damn earphones because I'm doing me. Well, no, that's license masquerading in the garments of liberty, right? You're actually in bondage and you will see it. You might be able to get through this life or get by in this life, but when it's accountability comes, and it surely will, which side do you want to be on? True liberty is the associate of genuine self respect. That sounds nice. False liberty is the consort of self admiration. True liberty is the fruit of self control. False liberty, the assumption of self assertion. Self control leads to altruistic service. Self admiration tends towards the exploitation of others for selfish aggrandizement of such a mistaken individual as willing to sacrifice righteous attainment for the sake of possessing unjust power over his fellow beings. That's where we get that concept of selling your soul. Because they're saying, I don't give a shit if I live on into the next world and continue on into eternity. I just want to be able to dominate a population today. I don't care if that means that I have to control the media. I have to buy everybody. Now remember, we have our lower nature's weaknesses, and that's how the forces of evil get to us. They pander to that. So if I'm some sort of, powerful being on this planet, and I want to yield that power, I'll buy the media and I'll wave $1 million in their face and say, ooh, don't you want to do this? And if you can't buy them, then what do? You get them with the sex scandal, right? Happens to the presidents. And then you will pander to their base desires. You'll get them right on your side. They'll do your bidding, and hence what we have. Even wisdom is divine and safe only when it is cosmic in scope and spiritual in motivation. See, if you have wisdom divorced from understanding the entirety of the cosmos, there is no error greater than that species of self-deception which leads intelligent beings to crave the exercise of power over other beings for the purpose of depriving these persons of their natural liberties. You're literally taking away in the masquerade of actually saying that they have more liberties now because they can have a gun range on their property. If their neighbor doesn't like it, he can put on headphones. The golden rule of human fairness cries out against all such fraud, unfairness, selfishness, and unrighteousness. Only true and genuine liberty is compatible with the reign of love, of the ministry of mercy. So as you read this, which side do you want to be on? Is it really important to get whatever it is if you have to do deception in order to get it? How dare the self-willed creature encroach upon the rights of his fellows in the name of personal liberty, when the supreme rulers of the universe stand back in merciful respect for these prerogatives of will and potentials of personality? See that? Even the most advanced, powerful beings who could end anybody's existence in a blink of an eye are sitting there and not even encroaching on their, right to do that. No being in the exercise of his supposed personal liberty has a right to deprive any other being of those privileges of existence conferred by the creators and duly respected by all their loyal associates, subordinates, and subjects. Because that's what true wisdom is. Evolutionary man may have to contend for his material liberties with tyrants and oppressors on a world of sin and iniquity, enduring the early times of primitive evolving spear. Okay, so we should be beyond that, but because of all of this evil perpetuated by these beings, the people are just, remember, Jesus looked at men as being weak, not wicked. Okay, so we have these weak beings out there who just find it easier to be robot minds and go along with the evil paradigm of the get principle, the god of money of this world, than it is for them to say, I'm going to swim upstream and I'm going to be godly. But not so much on the Morancha worlds or on the spirit spheres. War is the heritage of early evolutionary man, okay? But on worlds of normal advancing civilization, which we're not, physical combat as a technique of adjusting racial misunderstandings has long since fallen into disrepute. Okay, we're having major racial wars happening right now, Middle East, everywhere. They're happening all over. The theft of liberty. With the sun and in the spirit did God project. Oh, wait, no, we're done. So, folks, how about that for a true and false liberty, an explanation? Okay, so it's not just, oh, liberty, everybody should pursue liberty. You're to pursue anything in the universe, whether, except if it harms your fellows around you. And now here's the kicker, or yourself. So if you're pursuing what you think is a liberty because you're drinking yourself into an early grave, that's a false liberty as well because you're harming yourself. So the thing I'm going to close with is there's a few statements that any high being that has attained any high degree of spirituality will conclude. And if they don't conclude them, then they haven't attained a high degree of spirituality. One is they are sheep being led to slaughter. Okay, maybe it was Jesus. I'm not exactly sure who concluded these, but all right, so that's what. All right, here's another one. Without the grace of God, none would be saved out of it. That includes you, that includes me, that includes even those high spiritualists that have advanced to that level. Okay, and say, wow, we would be just completely sheep led to slaughter. And another one is, for all have sinned, all have sinned and fallen short of the glory. That's you, me, that's all, that's everyone. Another one is, there's two more. I can't think of them right now, but we'll hit them in the next video. Please like and subscribe, folks. We're doing well. We're growing here. And as you can see, we need this information. This is what we need, because then we'll look at those tyrants on this world that are just pretending like they're one of us. Hey, I'm just a regular guy like you, look at me. I have your best interest in mind. They're whacked. They're whacked. And I'm not condemning them because I don't know. They could have a change of heart tomorrow, right? But then there's beings even that are non-human beings that are in league, and I don't know how that works, right? They don't even need to be in some sort of conference where they're making a freaking pentagram on the ground and drinking blood in order to, summon their lord. They just have to be really receptive to this corruption of false liberty, right? They just have to be really weak and pander, and then they'll be pandered to, right? Okay, folks, so that's it. Take care. See you in the next video. Remember, this is all BS for us because we see right through this, right? We're on. Remember how beautiful it is when they point out the true liberty, and that is what we are experiencing. That is the true freedom and the breaking of shackles, not having $1 million to do what you want. All right, folks, take care.